welcome to A Little Crazy. Thanks for dropping in. Today I'm going to concentrate on the panels just above the bed area. Get those all cut out, ready for vinyling. Hope you enjoy the episode. So I'm looking to do the forward area right now. This will be making up the ceiling over the bed area. So you've got the front hatch up there. You've got a split section there, and then the anchor locker at the front. It's a bit tight under here to film, but basically what I need to do is put a frame across the top of there, joining up with that one there, one on the back of this, and then put one sheet across, and then do a similar sort of thing under here where the hatch is. So coming off that frame there, across there to the other side, to the other frame, do the same at the front end where it joins to my panel I've put on, and then under the side there carry it along to meet up with my panel that goes up to the window. Now obviously it's I've got to put a frame around here as well. Now I don't know how all this was, because when I took over the boat all this was actually off. So I'm just going to have to make it up in the best way that I can see that it will go. So obviously it's going to have a frame around this hatch. You can see where the lock is for the actual hatch itself. So it's going to have a frame coming across there, and then I'll probably center one there going back there to that piece, and one under the front, and that's just to give it stability underneath. You don't want it flopping about like a wet fish once it's up there. It's to show what I mean, this is the drawing. If you imagine that you know, you're laying here and you're looking up at the ceiling, so this is the ceiling. So this is the actual areas we got. Forward is anchor locker, which obviously we're not touching. That's just been painted out, hasn't it? So frame across there, frame across here, meeting up with the side pieces, and then it's just one piece of ceiling to cover that area. Now it's got to be lightly screwed up there for the moment. It's got to be covered anyway before it goes up fully, but it's going to be lightly screwed up because just there is a cleat section. So I can't put the cleat on now because, as I've said before, the top of the boat needs painting again. A few more coats on there, so, and you can probably hear that it's pissing down at the moment. It has been doing for about a week, so I need at least a week of sunshine to get on with that painting, and then I can get the ceilings done properly. But for the moment, if I get the woodwork ready, get it done. This forward section, as I said, put a frame around this hatch, another one across this side of the beam that's in the centre, one going right across the front, across there, and pop two smaller pieces in the centre to give that panel stability and that panel stability. These tails will be cut out at the same time as the rest of that. So in other words, when my pen is there, it's half of that, one panel, half of it, the other panel, and the third panel at the front. So that's what I intend to do, but because it is tight under there for filming, I mean basically all you'll see is a load of film of me legs sticking out there. So what I'll do is I'll do sections, film it, show you the progress and show you the finish. I think that's the only way to do it really. Just while we are here though, I'm going to cut out the sections for around here, which is the bed area. Now this centre section has got to rest on something, so I've got some hardwood here which is going to go along the front there, piece up the corner and one back there, and then I've got some thinner stuff still in hardwood which is going to do around the front of the seat. Now this bed section, I'm going to try something a little different with this. Normally you would have, see that triangle there on the floor, you would normally have another triangle that sits up here, and then it sits onto that frame that I just showed you either side, and then obviously the mattress going on the top, a triangle shaped mattress. I'm going to try something a little different here. I'm looking at doing something like a slatted section. Haven't seen it done before, but I'll give anything a go once. The reason I'm doing that is because if you think about it, this big section here has got to go somewhere. So if you're not using the bed, then you would take that off. So it's a heavy board. They would normally drop it down onto the floor, so it becomes just a slightly lifted floor down there, so people can still sit there. The cushion part of it would normally be put up the front somewhere. What I'm going to do, as I said, try do a slatted like you would have on a bed, joined with the ribbons coming down the centres, so that it can be rolled up and put into a canvas bag or something like that, and then simply put in one of these lockers completely out of the way. Cushion still being the same, putting up the front. But yeah, I'd like to give that a go. So what I'll do is I've got to cut these pieces out now, so that they all fit in there. I won't fit them because they've all got to be dyed and stained to meet up with the rest of the wood, and then obviously these sections would have to be routed out for where the slats are going to go down into. But I'll probably do that as a completely different video when I'm doing that, because that's a bit more involved. Right, got the first frame up there now, you can see, and that's where the initial part of the ceiling's going to go across. And as you can see, I've started to paint it as well, if nothing else, just to make it a bit brighter under there for me, so I can see what I'm doing. Obviously the wood needed painting, that centre section's still got to be painted up, and I've left enough gap there so I can get to the cleat that goes and fixes on the top there. So I've got to do this front part now. See, I started painting anyway, but get a box around this thing here, this hatch, and then work my way across. First board gone up there, up at the front. Not too bad. Right, so I've finished giving the underside of there a quick paint. I've given the centrepiece a new piece of wood. The original one, which is down here, finished there from the end, so there was a big gap either side. So I've taken that one off, replaced it with that one, and what I should do with that is I will cover that first before I do the ceiling, so that'll have material on instead of being the wood like that. And obviously I've taken it all the way to the end, so it makes a better finish. Now what I'm going to do with the ceiling up this end, biggest issue is around the actual hatch as well. I was told that there was wood around that the bottom of this hatch, and going around here, this is what the holes are for. I don't know, I need to get something that I can curve around, you know, just like a normal hatch plate goes on the bottom of a normal hatch. That's probably a very odd size anyway, but I'll have to try and do something with that. So with the actual ceiling, I'm still going to come off the side pieces, but I'm going to go up in the centre. You see how the centre goes up and across? So what I'm going to do is actually attach the panels to the ceiling as they come up over this piece, and then they will come right in line with that hatch piece. So whatever I put down around this edge and around this edge doesn't matter, because that board's going to go straight up to it. I mean, if it's an L shape there, it can just simply slot into it, which obviously will make a neater finish. But I think that's the best way to do that. But it's getting a bit dark now, so I'm going to stop now and carry on with this tomorrow. I'll template this first side, I think, and then see how we go on getting that piece up. I think the last thing in this area I need to look at is this locker cover. Obviously a DIY job, there's nothing wrong with that, but you know, you imagine going along the river and that's going like that. Not great. It's a bit of an awkward thing to get in and out as well, as you can see. It will come out. I've had it out. You have to lift it up and pull it down. And as you can see, it's not cut in the same shape as the actual hole. Not sure why that was. Perhaps they just used a piece of squarish board, cut the edges off to make it fit in that shape. I don't know. On the back of it, they've got this effect going on, if you can see that. So it's a bit like when you're putting sliders into runners. You push it up into the top slider, push the door in and let it drop, so it hangs on this one, and that's why it does wobble about. So, and it's quite a thick piece of hardboard, plywood this, and as you can see, it's coming away in the pliers. So I'll probably put a thinner piece than that. You don't really need this hulking great thing. Cut it into that shape. You're obviously just slightly proud of that shape. Either do a hinge down here, or could do the similar sort of thing to this, making it a bit tighter. It will be a bit tighter with a cloth on it, and I suppose, thinking about it, they had carpet all around here, so it probably, when it was carpeted, it probably was quite tight, so I wasn't really being forgiving on that. So yeah, it probably was tight, and being carpet, it wouldn't have made the rattly noise, I suppose. But yeah, so I'll do it a thinner piece around there, possibly put some sort of turn lock on it just to hold it in place, make it with perhaps a spring, I don't know. But it will be easier for me to go straight over this. Instead of leaving that bare wood, I'll go straight over that with the lining, so that it all blends in. You won't notice it so much then, which I think is a better thing. Okay, I'll do that in the workshop, so at least cut the shape out, and I'll work out how I'm going to fit it in there after that. Made a rough measurement of the ceiling area that goes over the main part of the bed. There's the drawing, so the hatch would be just there on this drawing, and as you know, it's got a curved wall to the side of the boat on the hull. There's no real straight lines on this, although it looks straight on my quick drawing I've done. This actually tapers out across to there, that one tapers out across to there, and that's under the front window. This is not a right angle on the boat, so what I'm going to have to do is use that as my straight edge, and I'll cut this one straight after I've got everything measured up properly. So all I'm doing at the moment is going to cut this shape out very roughly, very oversized, because I intend to pin it up onto the ceiling, move it slightly over from the center line, and then I'll use a stick to do this edge here, just a mite around there, and then once that's done, that line being straight, pushing forwards should bring me into there, and then I can do this shape here, and once I've got that right, then I can do my straight line across there. Now that's not as long as that, as I say, because you've got the hatch there, so you've got a small piece to the front and then a slightly larger piece at the back, so there's not so much hardship making that a straight across the center. But if I use that as the right angle, then I'm going to be slightly like that by about 2-3 mil. So I'd like to get it all nice and straight. Right, I'm going to just finish. I found a piece of my ply that is okay for cutting this shape out, luckily enough. So I'll whittle this down and then take it up onto the boat and try and pin it up somewhere. I've done my template up underneath here with the first part of the ceiling. I did have a slight misjudgment with that piece that I had, as you saw in the workshop. I thought there was enough meat on the bone to get right in that corner and bring me out to the centre here in line, but I was missing by just under 2 centimetres off this top. I thought this piece was pretty straight, but there's still a curve down there, so as I came along here it went out a couple of centimetres, so I couldn't use that as I was trying to use it and get all this across to here in one piece. So what I've done is I've templated this half of the half, so that it all fits in. It's a bit tight up this end actually, but it all fits in there. As you see, goes up there. I know it's hard to see at this angle, not much room in here. Yeah, so when this board's tight on it, it all fits flush, so we're all good. So all I have to do now is use another piece of board to template from this one, incorporating this piece here with the hatch. I won't mark out the hatch on this because it is lashing down with rain again outside, and rather than measuring up from the outside of the boat to here all the time, what I'll do is I'll whip the hatch off from the top and then mark round on the woods from the top and then cut that piece out. Right, so I'll get this piece back in. The lucky thing is, I mean, boats aren't that even from one side to the other, as you probably know. You know, you can never be too sure that it's exactly the same from one side. But my template does fit across the other side there and goes up underneath that. So I should, out of this one piece that I've cut, be able to cut 2 pieces fairly easy and whip them up. Now I'll mark them down on that line, so I'll start from the edge, but I don't mind if that goes over slightly, because I can always cut that line down there once the 2 pieces are together and I know it meets up. Do it with my foot, meets up with that line there, because I know that's the centre line. Right, let's get them bits cut out. So that's the full board up in its place. As I said before, I'm going to leave it a bit proud on that edge. I'll put the other one on, overlap them both, and then make sure I'm getting a nice straight cut there. But you can see the curve as I was talking about earlier, going across the centre, and that, as I said, will all be vinyled as well, all in one. And it's all gone quite well. Hasn't been a quick operation. I'm never quick at doing these things, but it's the finished result we're after, isn't it? So as long as it's good, once that's all on. Right, so let's get that other side up now. Right, that's the other side up. All sits nicely in place. I did cock up when I cut this panel out. I forgot to allow the distance over there, so when I put it on the template on the main wood, I was a bit short of where I needed to be, so now the centre line is back here by about about an inch, I suppose. I either live with that, bearing in mind that the cutout for the hatch is going in there, so you won't see that first part there, and you won't see it until it gets down there somewhere, and then your eye line will probably not even notice that, to be honest with you. But it was a cock up. I don't think it's worth cutting a whole new board to put that in there to rectify that, something that you're not going to see. I mean, when you're out in the boat anyway, you know, you don't even see the ceiling until you get right down on your knees there. But I mean, I can live with that. So just that hatch to cut out now, and then to make the fixings secure all round, it's all got to come off again as usual, because it's got to be vinyled. But at least that's another job ticked off the list. I've managed to cut the ply out for the cutout for the hatch, so that's basically all finished now, waiting for the vinyl to go on those boards. Obviously I still need to find a hatch surround, a trim, try and figure out how I'm going to do that. I don't think you're going to be able to buy one exactly that shape, but at least that's all done now and ready, and I can leave that area alone and then concentrate on that hatch and the bed surround, as I said. But thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Drop back again and please like and subscribe, because it does help to get more views on the videos. Thank you very much. Bye bye.